What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Juicy Jet Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Rooney, and we are back, and there is a lot of news in Jets land. I think it's been 10 or so days since the last time I've done a podcast, so I apologize for the little break, but we got a lot to talk about. We, of course, have a trivia question. I've got a little story to tell before we dive into all the other topics that we have, which include rookie minicamp is underway. We got them in the building. They are running around. No tackling, none of that stuff yet, but they're in the building, and it's fun to see them actually a part of the New York Jets. So that's a big thing I want to talk about. We've got some roster updates that I want to hit on, especially with a player who is near and dear to my heart that I'm going to miss dearly. And then, of course, we'll go into a gym break. There's a lot going on in New York sports. And then finally, the big thing that happened this week, which was the New York Jets 2025 schedule has been released. So we know exactly who we're playing, where we're playing them, and when we're playing them. So it'll be pretty interesting to go through the list and kind of plan out my entire fall to see where exactly I'll be going. And then, of course, we'll do a little run down the schedule and see where I think the Jets will finish as of, what is today, May 15th. So a lot can still change, of course, but it's always fun to do a little bit of predictions before we get into it. So let's start with a little trivia question. Unfortunately, I'm going to bring up Aaron Rodgers again. He is a part of this trivia question. So the trivia question is, quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who joined the Jets via trade in his 19th NFL season in 2023, was named the Associated Press's NFL MVP 4 times while playing for the Packers. Who is the only player with more league MVP awards? So Aaron Rodgers, NFL MVP 4 times. Who is the only player with more MVP awards? And if you can tell me how many MVP awards they have, you will get bonus points. So that is our trivia question. Now, before we get started, I do want to do a little story here. So I haven't done a Jets podcast in about 10 days. And the reason for that is, unfortunately, my grandpa passed away a couple days ago. So we had the funeral, the services, all that kind of stuff over the past weekend. So this podcast will be dedicated to Grandpa because that's what Grandpa would have wanted. And first, I want to tell you a little bit about, for me, I'm a diehard Jets fan. But my grandpa grew up, obviously, before the Jets were a thing, before the Mets were a thing. He was born in the late 30s. The Jets did not become a team until 1960. Same with the Mets. Same with the Islanders. So he is traditionally a Yankees, Giants, and Rangers fan. So kind of interesting that, I'm so diehard. My dad is so diehard, yet he didn't even know these teams existed as he was growing up. They didn't exist as he was growing up. So my dad, of course, a rebel without a cause, flips, becomes a fan of the Long Island teams because that's where he grew up, and kind of opposes our grandpa. But he was always very curious about our teams. He was always asking about how we're doing, what we predict they're going to do. He was always telling us how much the Jets quarterbacks suck. So he very much was involved and was not a hater at all, which was really great. But a story, because my grandpa was actually involved in one of the greatest wins in MetLife history and the loudest game I've ever been to in my life. So I'll take you back to 2009. My parents go on a trip, so our season tickets, I'm young. I need someone to bring us to the game, and me and my brother to the game, and Grandpa does. And we're going to play the New England Patriots, and this is when they are in, they're the Patriots that we know, where they're dominant. Tom Brady's the quarterback, Bill Belichick's the head coach, and they're just a juggernaut. And we are a brand new football team. We've got Rex Ryan, first-year head coach, Mark Sanchez, first-year quarterback. We have no idea what this team is going to be. We barely beat the Texans, I think, the week before. So Rex Ryan does one of the craziest things and probably smartest things I've ever seen or heard of. He leaves a voicemail for every season ticket holder of the New York Jets telling them, we need you in your seats, get loud, we got to beat the Patriots. It was so cool. Everyone showed up. It was awesome. And the game was so loud. Like, you could not hear yourself speak how loud it was. Every time the defense was on the field, you were standing up, screaming your head off. It was like numbing, like how loud it was. I've never been to a game that loud. I never will be. And the Jets, of course, beat the Patriots. We win 16-9. Tom Brady throws a pick to Darrelle Revis, which was a big play. I think we held them under 300 yards. And this is when we had folks like Leon Washington, Jericho Cotchery. We had Dustin Keller. Dustin Keller actually catches a touchdown in that game. Jay Feely was our kicker. He had like 3 or 4 field goals. And we took down, I guess our arch rival, arch nemesis, and it really starts this entire rivalry between Rex Ryan and Bill Belichick. It was short-lived. It only lasted 2 or 3 years, this rivalry, before the Patriots just started kicking our butt again once like Rex started to lose his luster. But it's a game that I'll really never forget because of just the sheer volume in the stadium. And Grandpa was always a part of that. So shout out to him, and shout out to one of the greatest games at MetLife Stadium. I probably won't be at a better one that was as exciting and loud. So we'll never forget it, and it was early in the MetLife Stadium days. So that's my quick story there. Now let's transition into the Jets and rookie minicamp. So we just had voluntary workouts where all of the veterans were in the building. So that's where Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson, Jeremy Ruckert, Sauce, the whole defense was there, Jermaine Johnson, all that stuff. They were practicing, shorts and a t-shirt, just to kind of like build some chemistry, lift weights, get in shape kind of a thing. Now we have the rookie minicamp. This is when all the folks that we drafted, all the folks that we signed as undrafted free agents, and as well as tryout players get to come into our building and try out. They can work out, all that kind of stuff, and once again, start to learn the playbook, start to build some chemistry. One of the really interesting things is, I didn't know this, but Quinnen and Quincy Williams actually have a brother. And their brother actually came to Jets Rookie Minicamp to practice and try out, which is hilarious. So now 3 of the Williams brothers are on the same team. Technically, the third brother isn't signed, and I don't know if he will be. But I thought that was just a really cool story. Congratulations to whoever's parents are of Quinnen, Quincy, and their third brother, because that's an incredible story that all 3 of them were on the same team during these practices. So very cool. But there's really nothing crazy that comes out of these rookie mini camps. It's more just like, hopefully no one gets hurt. Obviously we're not tackling. Rookies get to pick out their numbers. So there was this big controversy about Mason Taylor's number. He was wearing like 46, which isn't a tight end number or a great one. And then he switched the next day to like 83 or something like that. Like, that is the big controversy that happens during rookie minicamp. Now, I will say, like, they get to talk to the media. Like, there are some funny stories. I think it was Membu who came out and said, I didn't realize like how much money I was actually making until I got my first paycheck and saw all the zeros. So I thought that was just like an all-time quote. So that was really funny. You also got to see the undrafted free agents. There were a few that stood out, actually, because like Membu's not going to do a ton. Neither is like a Mason Taylor or our high draft picks. And rookie Donovan Edwards, our undrafted free agent, the running back from Michigan, actually stood out. He's going to have a really tough time making the team with 3, solid running backs already on the squad. But who knows? If someone goes down in training camp, he could be a guy to step up. So we'll see if he has a place on this roster, but it sounds like he was flashing a little bit as one of our big skill players from the undrafted rookie free agent pool. The only other thing that really came out of this, Arian Smith. Arian Smith, as a reminder, wide receiver from Georgia that we took in the 4th round, blazing speed, but his hands are an issue. There's a video going around of him doing a drill where he drops like 3 passes in a row doing this drill. So all of our worst fears coming to life just in a very nonchalant shorts and a t-shirt, simply catch the ball type drill in rookie minicamp. So he's got a lot of work to do, but who knows, maybe all he can do is just catch the deep pass, and that's all we need him to do, is just go deep, run as fast as you can, blow the top off the defense, and see what happens. So that was a little disheartening, but once again, I'm not going to get too crazy since it's rookie minicamp. We'll see what happens in actual training camp. So that was the big news out of rookie minicamp. There's really nothing that crazy, but it was good to see everybody a part of the team and, running around out there with Aaron Glenn. Now, the next piece I need to talk about, very sad for me. One of my favorite players, because we saw him a lot, is now no longer on the team. Punter Thomas Morstead has been cut by the New York Jets. Thomas Morstead been on the team for about, he was here twice, 2 different stints. I think he was here, what was that, 2022? Or in 2022 he goes to the Dolphins. He was here in 21 and then comes back to the Jets, plays for another year or so. He was a really good punter, but the problem is he's 39 and he's expensive. So by cutting him, we save, I think, $2.25 million, which can either go to signing a veteran after June 1st, when maybe we cut a couple other people and save some money, and we get all that cap back when we pay C.J. Mosley, Aaron Rodgers at June 1st. So this is sad for me because I really liked him, and I thought he was a really good player. And if you remember back to when the Saints won the Super Bowl against the Colts, he was actually the kicker that kicked that onside kick that the Saints recovered after halftime, which is one of the most iconic plays in Super Bowl history. So really love Morstead. Hope he catches on with another team because I just think he should keep playing, and I like him, and he's really good. But this move seemed to be a smart one for the Jets, as much as I don't like it, just because we'll get younger, we'll get cheaper. And for those of you that don't know, the money you don't spend on the cap this year rolls over into the next year. So even those $2.25 million savings could go to another player that we sign next year, or could go to a Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall extension. So, yeah, tough one. Love Thomas Morstead. But in the meantime, what we did do is sign a punter named Kai Kroger. He's from South Carolina. Now, look, I'm not going to pretend to know anything about undrafted rookie punters out of college. But the one thing I have looked at, and this has been going all over Twitter, and I know nothing about his ability to punt, but this guy has 3 touchdown passes, has thrown 10 passes total for over 205 yards. So maybe this is the fake punt guy that we've been looking for our entire lives. So we'll see what he does. We also have another punter named Austin McNamara, who we signed, I believe, in the offseason. We'll see how that goes. Fingers crossed that we don't punt at all this year, but knowing the Jets, he's going to be our most active player. So we'll see how that goes, but once again, very sad to hear about Thomas Morstead. So with that, let's take a pause. Let's do a gym break. For those of you that have not been here before, a gym break is I am a Jets, Islanders, Mets fan, and then Knicks, if you spell it out, J-I-M. Gym break with a silent K on the end for the Knicks. So no real news for the Islanders. Obviously, we talked about them getting the number 1 pick. They haven't signed a new GM yet, so we'll kind of wait to see what happens with the Islanders, but it's coming up kind of quick, the NHL draft. Let's talk about the Mets and the Knicks. So the Mets, they won the series against the Pirates 2-1 most recently, but it was kind of like an underwhelming series. Like, I thought they should have blown out the Pirates. The Pirates are one of the worst teams in baseball. So that was rough. And then the Knicks, they go up 3-1. Jason Tatum gets hurt. You're feeling really good. They only win on the road, it feels like. They go to Boston, and then what happens? They lose by like 25. The game was over with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They had a devastating third quarter where I think Brunson had like 3 fouls or 4 fouls just in the third. He fouls out with 8 minutes left in the game. So yesterday, which was the 14th, May 14th, was a super disappointing day in New York sports. And for me personally, I have 2 TVs in my house, 2 TVs in my living room. So I can watch multiple sports, or I can watch a show and watch a sporting event at the same time, which is awesome. I love it. I highly recommend it for anyone out there who likes to multitask. This was probably the worst scenario I've ever had with having 2 TVs watching my sports teams. Top TV, I have the Mets. Bottom TV, I have the Knicks. I look down. Derek White shoots a 3 right in our face. I think it was in the fourth quarter. Maybe it was late in the third to go up. I think it was 14, which really started their run to go up 20 plus and all that. And at the same exact time, I watched Clay Holmes give up a 2-run home run to go down 4-0 to the Pirates. I was like, this is misery. This is what I'm used to as a New York sports fan. So, really tough day. Knicks play again on Friday against the Celtics at home. Please close it out. Do not go 3-3 back to Boston. We don't need to see this. We really need someone else to step up. It can't be Brunson. Brunson, first of all, you can't foul out. You cannot foul out with 7 minutes left to go in the game. I don't care how bad the refs are. Get yourselves out of those situations. Cat didn't help at all. OG disappears. Bridges disappears. I don't know where these guys go. So, really tough watch. And then for the Mets, they play the Yankees this weekend. So, maybe they relaxed a little bit with the Pirates. We don't really have nothing, no sort of energy there. There's no rivalry there. But it's Yankees week now, and we're playing at Yankee Stadium. I'm so interested to see how much booing Soto gets from the Yankee fans. So he better bring it. I think this is a big series just to show that, hey, we're for real. I'm sure the Yankees are saying the same thing, that they're for real, because we're two of the best teams in baseball. So we'll see how that all works out this weekend, but very exciting watch. Big weekend in New York sports once again. All right, with that, let's hop into what you've all been waiting for. The New York Jets schedule has come out. This is a very exciting time for me every year, and I know most people are like, who cares about the schedule? It doesn't matter. We already know who they're going to play. You've known this for years. While true, I am also a world-traveling Jets fan who follows them all over the place. I haven't missed a game, home or away, since December of 2022. So the schedule release means a lot more to me than it would someone else. So there's two ways to look at the schedule. Most NFL experts or NFL fans will look at, okay, when are we playing our division rivals? They'll look at, do they clump certain divisions together at certain times? When will we be playing some of the playoff teams from last year? When will we be playing, home and away? Like, are we front loading the first half of our schedule home, or is it the back half? How are we splitting it? When's the bye week? The bye week's really important, especially to the players. So I think those are some of the things that, most fans are going to look for, and as well as primetime games too. And I do care about that. Like, we will talk about that as I go through the schedule. But the thing I really care about is selfishly about me. It's where am I going to travel? When am I going to travel there? And what's the weather going to be like? Because remember, I got to sit there for 3 hours and watch this team win or lose. And most of the time, since we haven't had a winning season in 10 years, since 2015, most of the time I go to these games, we're losing. So how miserable am I going to be sitting there? Or will the sun be shining and be nice weather? So those are the things that I care about and look for, because I'm trying to keep this streak alive of going to every single home and away game. And the other thing too is we play in London. So when does that happen as well? So let me give you the rundown of the schedule, and then we'll go game by game, and I'll give you my prediction for the year, and then we'll wrap it up here. So, of course, the schedule makers do us dirty and give us the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, week 1, 1 o'clock. Week 2, Buffalo comes to New York, or New Jersey. They're in New York? No, they're in Buffalo. They're in Canada. Buffalo comes to MetLife Stadium, week 2, 1 o'clock p.m. Week 3, the Jets go to Tampa, Florida, 1 o'clock. Week 4, Jets go to Miami for Monday Night Football. Week 5, the Dallas Cowboys come to New York, 1 o'clock. Week 6, the Broncos and Jets play at 9:30 a.m. Eastern in London, Tottenham Stadium. Great place. So that was week 6. Week 7, the Carolina Panthers come to New York, 1 o'clock kickoff. Week 8, the Jets go to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. Then we have our bye week. Week 9, we play the Browns at home at 1 o'clock p.m. That was week 10. Week 10, we play the Browns. Week 11, we go to New England Thursday Night Football in Foxborough. Week 12, we go to Baltimore to play the Ravens at 1 o'clock p.m. Week 13, we are home against the Atlanta Falcons at 1 o'clock. Week 14, we are home against the Dolphins at 1 o'clock. Week 15, we head back to Florida to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, 1 o'clock. Week 16, New Orleans Saints come to New York, 1 o'clock kickoff. Week 17, New England comes to us, 1 o'clock kickoff. And week 18, we go to Buffalo, play the Bills. The time is to be determined depending on flex scheduling. So that is the New York Jets schedule. Here are my first reactions. Only 2 primetime games. We play Monday night against the Dolphins in Miami. We play in Foxborough against the Patriots on Thursday Night Football later in the year. We also have a standalone game in London, but that's not really prime time. That's just your standalone. You're the only game in town at that point. So this is a massive flip-flop back to the crappy team that we've always been, where no one wants to watch us at 1 o'clock, that we were before Aaron Rodgers. With Aaron Rodgers, we were on primetime more than almost any team in the league, besides probably the Chiefs, Cowboys, teams like that. So it's kind of nice to be back to the 1 o'clock time slot. We'll be quieter, less people will be watching us. We can kind of do our thing. We can either suck and no one will make fun of us because no one's watching, or we'll do really well and fly under the radar, which is what Aaron Glenn wants. So I thought that was really interesting. The bye week. Surprisingly, the bye week does not come after we go to London. So it sounds like we picked to play 2 more games post the London game to then have our bye week. So interesting strategy. I saw some teams usually do their bye week right after London, so they get that extra rest with the hangover and the layover and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was really interesting. I hate the fact that we have to play Aaron Rodgers potentially week 1 at home. We are horrible in rivalry games against people that used to play on the Jets. We tend to always lose those matchups. So that is really rough to start the season with not only Aaron Rodgers coming to play us as a member of the Steelers potentially, but also Justin Fields playing against his old team that he just left, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think when it comes to where these games are located, we play back-to-back in Florida, week 3 and week 4. Going to be really hot in Tampa, week 3 at 1 o'clock p.m. That might be a little bit of a rough one for us. And then week 4, we're playing at night in Miami. So thank God it'll be a little bit cooler. But we never win in Miami. I've gone to 5 straight games, I think, in Miami, and I've never seen the Jets win there. It's wild. I think the front half of the schedule is going to be very tough. We play 4 of our first 6 games are against playoff teams, which is very difficult. Back half of the schedule looks a little bit lighter, where you got New England, the Browns, the Falcons, the Jaguars, the Saints, New England again. So we'll see, do we get better as the season goes on? How does Aaron Glenn adjust to all this stuff? So those are some of the things that pop out to me. I think the great part is, aside from those 2 night games and the 1 London game, every single game's at 1. So hopefully I get some sunshine. And we don't travel very far this year. Besides the London game, we're really just going up and down the East Coast. So nothing too crazy from a flight perspective. We're not going to the West Coast, nothing like that. So yeah, I think it's a pretty favorable schedule the way it's laid out, but let's go through. Let's go through one by one, talk matchups, and see where we stand. And somehow I need to keep track of what I have the record at. So we'll start with the Steelers. First game at MetLife. Aaron Rodgers coming to town. Like I said, we never perform well. Sam Darnold has beat us when he played for the Panthers. Geno Smith has beat us multiple times for the multiple teams he's been on, including the Seahawks. We've had all former coaches. Pete Carroll has beaten us multiple times. Bill Belichick just crushed us. It's just, I don't know. It never feels good to play some of the team. Sam Darnold beat us with the Vikings last year, too. So that's a tough part. The one good thing is we play the Steelers really well. I think we're 7-6 against the Steelers since 2003 or something like that. While before that, we can never beat them. So they're definitely not the Steelers of old. I do worry that our stadium, because the Jets are predicted to not be that good this year, is going to be half Steelers fans, maybe more, which is really just going to be so deflating. So I'm going to go week 1 out of the gate. If they have Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to go loss. If they don't have Aaron Rodgers, because I think the rest of their quarterbacks are not good, I think we go win. So let's go 1-0 for now, or 0-1 for now. Bills, week 2. Love the fact that we get the Bills early. There's not a lot of tape on what our offense is going to look like. We don't know what our defense is going to look like. There's years of tape on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. But do we have enough talent to hang on? I don't think so. I think Buffalo runs us over. 0-2. Then we go to Tampa. This is a game where I think Todd Bowles drops the ball because we're in his house. I feel like Todd Bowles he's good for one of these every now and then, where a team that they are supposed to crush will come in and hang and then can pull something out at the end. So I'm going win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers week 3. So we're 1-2. In Miami, week 4, Monday Night Football. Like I said, I've never seen the Jets win in Miami since I've gone to games. Maybe I don't go to this one. Maybe that'll turn things around. So I'm going to go with a loss here. I still think it's early enough in the season where Tua's not going to be hurt, and he can kind of torch us a little bit like he's done in the past. So I'm going 1-3 to start. Then the Cowboys come to New York for week 5. I think the Cowboys are pretty underrated. I think Dak just doesn't get the credit that he deserves. I think he's a really good player. I think they've pumped up their defense a little bit. They don't have a great run game, which I think is their problem. But with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, really interested to see how that all works out. So I am going to go with a Dallas Cowboys win. So we are 1-4 going into week 6 in London against the Broncos. This is a thing about like second year quarterbacks. I feel like there's just that hump that they just can't get over. Now the Broncos are going to have an unreal defense. So we're going to have to try to run the ball down their throats as best we can because their defense is so good and they're going to be so well coached. But I do think Bo Nix drops the ball and we get a victory against the Broncos. So I've got us at 2-4 going into week 7. Week 7, we're back home against the Panthers. Panthers are terrible. If we lose to the Panthers, that is a huge problem. I think Bryce Young got better. Do I think he's good? Not yet. So I'm going to win there. That's 3-4 for the Jets. Then we go to Cincinnati. I will be honest, their offense is unbelievable with their run game, with Jamar Chase, with T. Higgins. I don't know how we're going to stop their offense, but their defense is horrible. And Trey Hendrickson's not even back yet. So I could see us giving them fits. I do think we still lose. So that gets us to 3-5 before the bye week. Now, instant reaction, 3-5 before the bye week, not that great. I'm not that excited about being 3-5 going into the back half of the season with our first season with Aaron Glenn, because once again, it just feels like another losing season. But I think this is where things start to turn because the schedule gets a little, I wouldn't say, it gets easier, but it's more competitive, I would say, for us. So we go into week 10 against the Browns. I think the Browns are terrible. I have no idea who's playing quarterback for them. So I think this is a game that we should win. Now, of course, we're good for a stinker every now and then, which I didn't calculate into this, but that is 4-5. Let me make sure I have that right. 4. Do I have that right? I said loss, win. 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, 2-4, 3-4, 3-5. So we're 4-5 at week 10. Then we go to New England. I'm going to go another loss there. So I'm going to go 4-6. I don't know why. I just feel like we're going to split with New England this year. I feel like Thursday Night Football, short week, traveling up to New England in Foxborough. I don't think we're going to win that one. So that's, what did I say, 4-6? Yep. And then we go to Baltimore. That's a loss. I think the Baltimore's going to be one of the best teams in the league. Their defense got better. It's impossible. We can't stop the run. And that's all they do with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. So that's another loss. Then we go home against the Falcons. I really like this one. I feel like Michael Penix hasn't really proven himself yet. Then their defense got better, but I still don't think their defense is good enough. A lot of rookies and young players, so I think we get a win there. So that Falcons win puts us at 5-7. Then we have Miami come to New York. I think we split with the Dolphins as well. This is a potential game where Tua could be hurt. It's cold. They are horrible in the cold. So this is 6-7. Then we go down to Jacksonville. I actually think the Jaguars are going to be a lot better this year. I think Trevor Lawrence bounces back. I think that Travis Hunter is going to be a big help. We'll see what happens with the new coaching staff, Liam Cohen down there, but I think we lose this one. So that is 5-8. And then we go, was that 5-8? 5. Well, we'll keep going. We'll add it up at the end. Then we have New Orleans going to New Orleans. I think they're going to be terrible. I don't know who's playing quarterback for them. I am not encouraged by what their roster looks like. So I think we beat New Orleans pretty bad, and they'll probably be out of it by then. Then New England comes to us in Week 17. Like I said, I think we split with New England. I also think they're going to be pretty. They're going to be better, but we'll see if they'll still be actually in the race. Same with us coming to the end here. So I think we beat New England at home, and then finally we go to Buffalo. This last game is totally going to depend on if Buffalo has anything to play for. I think they will. Maybe it's fighting for the 1 seed, fighting for the 2 seed, whatever it might be. So I take another loss in Buffalo because we never win in Buffalo. So that is my overall record prediction. So let's see here. Let's add it up. So we were 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, 2-4, 2-3-5. No, 3. Wow, I already messed up. 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, 2-4, 3-4, 3-5. So that's the first half. 3-5. 4-5, 4-6, 4-7, 5-7. Wow, 6-7, 6-8, 7-8. Wow, 8-8, 8-9. Not a bad. That would be the most wins we've had since 2015. 10 years. Does that get us in the playoffs? I don't think so. So the playoffless streak continues, unfortunately, but encouraging signs in year one under Aaron Glenn, if this is the way it falls. Now, of course, injuries can play a huge part in this. You never know what's going to happen. Josh Allen could get hurt, and then those 2 games against Buffalo look totally different. Same thing with all these other quarterback, same thing with like a Joe Burrow against the Bengals. We saw what they look like when he doesn't play. We could have injuries. So you never really know what's going to happen, and we won't know until the games are played. So this is a very fun schedule. The only places I haven't been so far that I plan on going to is at New Orleans and at Cincinnati. The rest I've been to all the other stadiums that we're visiting this year, including London. So I'll add 2 to the belt this year. Unfortunately, it's only 2. I wish it would be a little bit more. But should be a really fun year, and I'm excited to get going here. So, all right, let's wrap it up with the answer to the trivia question, and then we'll get out of here. So, Aaron Rodgers, he was named the NFL MVP 4 times while playing for the Packers. Who was the only player with more league MVP awards? The answer: Peyton Manning, and the amount of MVPs he had was 5. So no one's had more than 5. Aaron Rodgers probably will end his career at 4. So that is another episode of the Juicy Jet podcast. Once again, if you are listening to this and you haven't subscribed, rate, review, like, all those things, follow. I'm also this is on YouTube, so you can do all of that there. You can also hear it on Spotify and all those places as well, if that's a little bit easier for you. And then if you could follow me on TikTok, JuicyJet25. If you could follow me on Twitter at KevinRooney25, that would be amazingly helpful. But thank you all for listening. I'll have future episodes coming up where I have some guests lined up. And then, we'll kind of go from there as we roll into training camp. So thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you again soon. See ya.